Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I hope everyone can hear me okay, and I hope you have a nice event so far. My name is Julian. I'm the head of tender management at Aristo Pharma, and almost 3 years ago, I was the head of supply chain management at Advanced Pharma, which is a subsidiary of Aristo Pharma and the biggest manufacturing site within the Aristo Pharma group. And I was responsible for a team of 15 employees. And today, I want to talk about how to implement artificial intelligence in your organization. And first of all, I want to tell you what was so challenging and difficult during the last years with demand planning. Then I will give you some insights about artificial intelligence in general. And then at the end, I will show you how to implement the AI in your organization. So, almost exactly 3 years ago, I received a message from my boss on WhatsApp showing me this Twitter post from Donald Trump, the former US president, saying that the combination of azithromycin and hydroxychloroquine could be a game changer in the fight against COVID. And we were producing the azithromycin at our manufacturing site at that time. And we were chatting back and forth of how reliable the opinion of Donald Trump is. And in the end, you can guess what happened. The sales increased rapidly. So in April and in March, we had a significant higher sale for azithromycin. And shortly after, in May, we were out of stock. And because of our right intuition, on the day that Donald Trump was posting that Twitter post, we decided to prioritize the manufacturing of azithromycin, which was originally planned in August. We decided to manufacture it in May, and with the market release, we were able to have it in the market by June again. But also with other materials, such as face mask, for example, we were seeing really interesting developments. It's a material that was pre-COVID costing only 3 cents, and you can get it available within a couple of days. And by then, the price increased to $150 per face mask, and you really had to look for suppliers that were even able to supply that to you. Yeah. So I remember how I was talking together with a buyer that was responsible for those kind of materials. We were talking every morning to multiple suppliers, negotiating about prices and delivery dates. And also with other materials that we have in the chemical and pharmaceutical industry, such as the gloves and hair protection, it was the same thing. Yeah. And I guess everyone also noticed it in our private life. I remember how I went to the grocery store every morning looking for toilet paper for 2 weeks. So these were all the difficulties and impacts that we were facing during the last 3 years. Yeah. I have one more example. We had a product that we were manufacturing at Advanced Pharma. It's one of the high volume products. And as you can see, pre-COVID, we were on rank 3 to 4 in the market in Germany. And with COVID and the lockdowns happening, some of our Indian suppliers were not able to deliver to Germany anymore. And you can see some of them had decreased sales, almost went out of stock, and which was a benefit for us. We had higher sales, but also we were not expecting that. As you can see in the columns, our API level was really low the whole time. We had to contact our API supplier almost every day and took everything that we can get, every little thing. And then only in November, like 7 months later, we finally had a big API stock again to really keep with the supply. And all these events and examples happening around me, I was wondering if there is a way to do better in demand planning, and if there's maybe tools that can predict those kind of events better to some extent. And I kept hearing about artificial intelligence and how it can beat human in different disciplines, and also might take over some of our jobs. And I guess every one of you knows what AI is now. Since December last year, ChatGPT became so popular. And yeah, 3 years ago, we were looking into that. We did some research. We talked to vendors. And before I go into the roadmap, I want to give you some details about artificial intelligence, because there were some things that came clear to me during the process. So what you see here is the digitalization pyramid, which I illustrated. On the bottom, you see the basic requirements for every technology in order to be able to communicate with each other. Yeah, they need to be linked. There needs to be a network between each device in order to transmit the data. So, for example, you have a supermarket cash desk and a computer, and if the supermarket cash desk notices there's a sale of the toilet paper, it has to submit or transmit the information to the computer. On the next level, from the data, the technology needs to be able to derive information. So the computer then notices, okay, I sold 1 package. On the next level, you see the knowledge piece. So we want to derive knowledge from those information. For example, the computer noticed, okay, if I sold a package, I have less packages in stock. If I sold a package, I have to reorder a new package. And if I sold a package, I made X amount of revenue, and so on. This is the level or the stage where most of our companies are right now. Yeah? The buyer sits in front of the computer and can derive knowledge from those information that have been transmitted from different devices to him, and then he can take action. The next stage is the forecasting. This is the stage where the algorithm is already able to trigger orders based on the data it has. In technical circles, it's called machine learning. This is not artificial intelligence yet. Machine learning uses algorithm to determine the best fitting model for your data. Yeah? And it keeps learning over time within the boundaries that you tell it to do so. Yeah? So if you say, okay, optimize my stock based on the sales, it will relatively quickly learn that and optimize itself. And then the further development of the machine learning is the artificial intelligence. And here we can link multiple rules together. So besides the optimization of the inventory based on the sales, you can tell it to look for keywords on Twitter or newspaper to see the impact on the demand. That would be helpful for the azithromycin example. But if we stay with the toilet paper example, you can also tell it to look into the export data of fiber manufacturers in order to see if there's an upcoming bottleneck, or if there's holidays or weekends, because that's usually where the toilet paper sales increase. It also should consider that. Yeah? And if you put that all in a basket, the AI can then independently analyze and act based on the data. So I think that was really important to know what is the difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence, because if you want to implement that in your organization, you need to know what it's about and which model fits the best for the process that you want to automate. Both the artificial intelligence and the machine learning will definitely, sooner or later, will take over the demand planning activities. They are made for those kind of activities. And if we give them external data as well, they have much more access to data than we will ever have, and therefore make more accurate decisions in planning. So according to an expert, he said that by 2035, artificial intelligence will, as sad as it sounds, will be able to do everything a human can do today. And whether that succeeds depends on those points. So the biggest challenge for every company will be to have data available and precise data. The immense programming effort, we will come to that in a second. And of course, the resistance in the labor and then the management. I mean, the labor is obvious, but also the management might be resistant because they don't see the benefit of it and instead a really high invest. And the last point is also really important, the lack of explanation of the results of the artificial intelligence. Yeah, it has so much more access to data that we don't see, and therefore it can also make decisions that we wouldn't have done. And because it's working independently, we are sitting in front of the computer and we don't know what the AI is doing there. Yeah? So this is also one point why we are a little bit resistant, because we have to rely and depend on the AI in the future. Okay, and how do we implement this artificial intelligence in our company now? I recommend to first look into how is your demand planning working today. So which data is your buyers or planners looking at, like sales, forecast, inventory, demand, lead times, which criteria is used, how good are the results. So you should make that measurable. You maybe also want to talk to experts in the market and compare your results. Is there errors that are occurring and how do they arise? And last but not least, you want to know when the invest pays off, the algorithm pays off. Yeah? So, for example, how much money did you save by having an optimized inventory, or how much sales did you lose due to poor demand planning? How much money can you save by avoiding destruction costs or reducing destruction costs and all that stuff? But also, you can consider how much money can you save with the manpower. Yeah? It's a big difference if you have 20 people that are doing the demand planning or just one person who is doing it half day, because the savings on the other side with the 20 people will be way higher, and the effort to have to program the AI will be the same for both situations. And then you want to consider the goals, because these are really crucial on the duration of the project and the costs. So the first point is also really important. The further you will look into the future with the demand planning, the less accurate the results will be. Or the cost will be way higher and the programming effort will be way higher as well. Yeah? How secure should the solution be? What cost can be saved, and so on. The next step is then to hold a kickoff meeting with the most important stakeholders, like your supervisors, management, and employees from the demand planning department. You want to know how good your database is, and here I can tell you, you really have to do your homework, because if you don't have good data, then the whole model doesn't work. Yeah? Only the companies that are able to have a lot of data and clear data, they will actually only have a competitive advantage with artificial intelligence. But you don't only need the data, you also need to be able to understand them and also to link them. You want to know how precise your tool should be. And here we can apply the Pareto principle. You can have 80% accuracy in 20% of the time, but if you want to have 100% accuracy, then you need to invest another 80%, and that influences your costs and the programming effort. And then also define milestones and deadlines. Okay, and then it comes to the program or the project execution. We were talking to PAI, Pharma Artificial Intelligence, a small company in Berlin. And I have to admit, though, that we were not continuing with them to different reasons, but I will continue in theory now. So together with Pharma AI, we would have set up a project team consistent of a data scientist, that is someone who can pull large amount of data and put them together in a meaningful way and therefore lay the basement of the model. Yeah. Then we would have looked into our data quality. As I said, it's really important. Garbage in, garbage out principle. If you have bad data, you will also get bad results. Sorry. And you might want to expand the data scope. Yeah. And then it would have come to the baseline model, which would have been created by Pharma AI, and they would have fed the algorithm with more data, with more algorithms until the desired results is achieved. Okay, now I want to summarize really quick what I just said. The artificial intelligence and machine learning will have a major impact on our organizations and demand planning and competitiveness in the future. It can have beneficial impact on the inventory, on the profit. We can have higher delivery capability. Yeah, the implementation can be very costly. That's also a reason why we didn't go on with the project and we stopped the project. And a precise definition of the goals and a good databases are really important to have a successful implementation of the AI. Thank you very much for your attention.
Anybody, any questions or comments?
Yeah, thank you for the interesting speech. And of course, I'm very much curious. You don't need to go too much into detail, but tell us a bit more. What was the, let's say, what was the bug in the system? Was it more the costs or the data or the processes?
Yeah, it was multiple things. When we were talking to Pharma AI, and we got the offer and the work that they need to do, and we presented that to the management. So that was one thing, the invest itself. As I said, it's really challenging sometimes to convince the management. And 3 years ago, when AI was not a big topic, it was more challenging than it maybe is now. Maybe today it's way easier because everyone is interested in the topic and sees the benefits of it. And also, the benefits were not that big as we were expecting. We had a small demand planning team there, and it was actually working pretty good for the time in the pandemic. So the competitive advantage that we saw here didn't match with the invest that we had to do. Mm-hmm.
One question, in your organization, is demand planning a sub-function from risk management, or is this a separate organization?
No, it's not from a sub department from the risk management. It's part of the supply chain management. So they have data from the markets, from customers, forecasts. They put it into our ERP system, and that then, yeah.
Okay, you put risk in your supply chain process then, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which kind of additional data sources did you consider in terms of what your demand planner are usually doing? Usually you have sales, you talk to your customers and so on. So what kind of additional information did your AI system or wanted your AI system take a look at and consider?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I got the question right because it was a little bit silent.
And I am
Yeah, that's
using the mic.
better.
So what kind of additional data and data systems did your AI was connected to or plan to connect to, in addition to what you usually consider in your demand planning team?
Nothing, actually. So we just had the data that we had by that time, which was enough, which was the forecasting from customers and market data like lead times and stuff like that. But we didn't plan to have external data. We didn't see external data that would actually support the AI or the machine learning to actually implement that as well.
So thanks very much for that. I mean, the interesting thing for me is, as you were talking and you said garbage in, garbage out, straight away the most important thing with AI is that your data is validated. So, you know, in history, I remember the salespeople, they get a bonus if the forecast for next year is 20% increase. Of course, it doesn't materialize, but the manufacturing changes its whole manufacturing strategy.
Yeah.
And then the following year, they have to stop manufacturing because they've made too much.
Yeah.
So that's one side of it. And then the other one was a product launch where they were very excited, this company, about this new product they got. And they'd filled all the warehouses in Europe with the product, and they were very excited. And the prediction was that it would increase by 50% the following year, because the sales team would be so good. So they geared up for manufacturing. They were manufacturing like crazy to be ready. And then somebody contacted one of the wholesalers and said, why have you not asked for an order? Because we've not sold anything. So they went and they checked all the wholesalers, and none of the wholesalers had sold any product. And so they got all that material that was going to come back, plus they made 150% ready for the next year. So they had 250% of product which just went in the bin.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's the, if you go to AI, you have to have real data.
Yeah, yeah. But as I said, the further you look into the future, AI will also have less accurate results, right? Same with humans today.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more accurate than a human would have, but
Yes.
also I doubt that a AI in demand planning today can see what's happening in 1 year. Yeah?
No.
It would be the same unless your data can show that, but I don't know which data that should be.
Yeah. But for sure, one thing you need to do is like weather forecasters, they forecast the weather.
Yeah.
But you never see the results printed for how accurate the weather forecast was for the past 6 months, whether 90% or 10%.
Yeah.
And with sales teams, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
Nobody ever seems to go back and make them accountable for the forecast. Never happens. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.